Hello everyone and welcome back to another Planet Zoo modding tutorial. My name is Leaf and as always it's so great to have you guys here. Even if you don't want to learn how to mod, I know some of you guys just watch these videos just to watch them and I do appreciate it, but enough dilly-dallying. Without further ado, we're going to teach you how to code an entirely new species in Planet Zoo today. So, for the time being, I want to do something simple. I want to do something nice and easy. We're just going to do the northern hairy-nosed wombat. Yes. So, I'm going to walk you guys through the process of making this. It's kind of intuitive, I would say. Pretty easy. So, the first thing that you're going to do is copy your content folder for which you're making your mod from, and make a duplicate copy of that. So, of course, if you don't do Content Zero, first and foremost, there's ways around that. I'll definitely probably get into a video on that later down the line, but for the time being, Content 1 is good for if you're making sheep mods or bear mods using the polar bear or the doll sheep. Content 2 is good for using the llama, anteater, jaguar, capuchin monkey. Literally everything in Content 2 is usable. Llamas are very good for artiodactyls, anything with 4 legs, even elephants the llama code works with. Content 3 is perfect for all your little marsupials, so I've been using that for my kangaroos, my wombats, my koalas, and all the stuff like that. Content 4, of course, gives you all the swimming animals. Content 5 gives you basically all the DLC animals. For Southeast Asia, Content 6, meerkats and stuff is pretty unique in there. Content 7, literally any North American animal. But without further ado, there's a lot more stuff regarding, like, you know, what to use for whatever animal you want to make in the modding server itself. I'll have a link to that down in the description down below because we're going to pull from a lot of resources over there. But we're just going to jump right into that. I'm going to rename this to Wombat No for northern. So as you guys can probably see, I already have 3 wombats down here. I have the southern, the northern, and the common. And I've already done the other 2, and I might as well just do the northern while I'm here. And we have a lot of files in here. But first and foremost, you can automatically get rid of environment, cinematics, and audio. And then once you're actually done with that, you can get rid of all the other animal files that you are not going to be using. Please excuse that. So I'm not doing anything with lizards, flightless birds, or dogs. And I am not doing anything with the red kangaroo. So now I have my lovely little koala, and actually I can get rid of the male as well, because the koala code doesn't even use the male for me. So of course, with that being said, one of the first things that we're going to need to do is our manifest file. So allow me just to pull that up and let me show you guys a handy dandy little site that I use. I use uuidgenerator.net version 1, and then whatever this comes up with, you can just copy it, and then we're done with that. So one of the things that you gotta do is rename Content 3 to Wombat No, or whatever 8-character length name that you so choose. It's very important to keep it 8 characters. Of course, there are ways around that. I believe that Seth has actually made it so that you can actually have a longer name with more characters, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm teaching you guys the easiest way without any little setbacks or anything like that. So of course, the main tool that you're going to be using today is Cobra Tools. I use the OVL tool GUI, and you can get this right from the modding server. Be sure to install it correctly. Nick has a lovely little tutorial on that, because I do not remember installing this whatsoever. I've had this installed for, like, you know, ages. Be sure to update it whenever a new update does come out for it, because we got to make sure that all the mods are running on the same system. But without further ado, we're going to jump into our main, and we're going to do something right off the bat, and we're going to delete audio from there. So you click that little drop down, click on audio, and click the minus button, and we are done with that. And I often love to just, like, copy paste the directories into the save over there. It just helps out so much. So with that being said, one of the things I want to do right off the bat are my UI files. So you can notice I often keep, like, the trash in my files just because it kind of works that way. Yeah, I kind of work kind of haphazardly, if you do say so yourself. And one of the things I do over here is actually bring everything to this textures folder. and then I just change that out to Wombat no. And then I select both of these so it changes 2 files at the same time, so I save on time and I save on effort. And we just go through the rest of these, just putting in Wombat no. And that's going to be our content folder name. There are going to be 2 names that you really need to keep in check over here. When it comes to koala mods though, however, I'm just showing you guys a very base level way of approaching this. But for koala mods, this is something that you guys probably don't need to know for literally any other creature. It requires a advanced asset package transplant. So it's going to be a lot more complicated than how it looks right here, but I'm just showing you guys for the time being. So I'm just going to change that to Wombat. Be sure to change the same amount of characters over there. So Northern, Wombat, Wombat. That's how it works. No bats in Planet Zoo. So I just changed that over there, and you may be wondering where all the other files went. I just put in the filter Wombat, so whenever I change it over here and Control R, it only shows the Wombat file. But we're not done with everything just yet, so I keep on doing that. And I basically standardize this all across the board. I just like to get this all done nice and quickly. And then what I do, I go back over here and I do exclude search. So any file that has Wombat in there, it will show. No, it won't show. And essentially I could just delete all the rest of the trash files in here. Be sure to delete any trash files that you can, any files that aren't being referenced whatsoever, because sometimes if you do keep the old UI in here, it'll break the other UI actually, and it'll basically nullify it. And there you go, there's all your UI. So what I actually like to do, I like to go into my Cobra Tools folder, and I do keep my UI files in here. So I can change that to Wombat, and everything over here I can just drag right back out, and it extracts it all nicely. And one of the things I tend to not do are albino animals. I particularly don't like to do them. I think they're kind of derogatory, not derogatory, derivatory, I guess, I don't know. But anyways, they're all your useful files over there. That's all your UI, and I do hope the UI tutorial did help a lot of you guys. I know it was pretty fun to do that. So of course I'm just gonna drag all these back, and our UI is all done. At least the coding for it. So also over here, what we're gonna do over here, I'm gonna show you guys how to do the animals, because I like to save the main and everything else for last. So I'm just gonna change that to Wombat, and then change these both to Wombat. What I like to do again is bring these to the top level. It just makes it so much easier. Instead of naming 2 different files, I only need to name one. So Wombat, and then change this to Wombat. Now, of course, as we all know, if we just have these alone, they'll kind of glitch out. That's simply, wow, that is simply a problem with koala mods currently. I'm just showing you guys how to get this in the game. This will work across the board for literally all the other mods. And just make sure to rename that right off the bat. If you're working with an asset package transplant or a different animal like OVL, it's a little bit more complicated, and I will have a tutorial on that pretty soon. But I'm just showing you guys how to do simple DLC mods. And then what we're going to do, we're going to capitalize koala and capitalize Wombat. Usually if you have animals with, like, let's just say koala Queensland, I would simply just get rid of Queensland, like hypothetically if that were the full name, just because you're only getting rid of this one reference of the name itself. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do new species hash dat edit, and then there we go. It's dat editing right now, which means all the files on the inside are being changed to best fit new species. Mr. Harlequin's Ego and Hendrix have both worked extremely hard to make sure that this tool works as well as it does, so we don't need to go through it manually and really basically give ourselves hemorrhoids, I guess. I don't know. Probably not hemorrhoids, probably something a lot less worse, but you know, it's still a very large issue to actually go in here and manually do all that stuff. So with that being said, I'm just going to get rid of all those other languages. For the time being, I just do my own native language, and that's it. And what I'm actually going to do, because you guys don't need to watch, like, you know, me do the entire lock files, I'm just going to copy the southern hairy-nosed wombat into here. And then what we can actually do, we can replace that over there. And then what we have over here, we have what is Wombat. So we change Wombat to no bat. And then with that being said, it should actually clarify all of that. So now we have our animal files all said and done. So we just need to go back and reload that. And basically what I just did, I cleared the cache. So whenever you kind of save a file, I would always suggest to save it, exit out of it, then reopen it, just because it works so much better that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change southern to northern. And we are just going to do that all across the board right over here. And basically, let me pull it up. Northern hairy-nosed wombat. So yes, as you guys can probably tell from my log files, I use Wikipedia. There is no shame in using it. It really helps you get, like, you know, your basic animals said and done very quickly. Since this guy has his own scientific name, we are going to change that out. Wild population, I usually keep it as unknown because there's a lot of discourse amongst the other kind of things in regards to that. Behavior, I usually like to do this for social needs. So I can just change that out. And I get rid of all those little references in there. This is like seeing right behind the scenes over here. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, he's such a hack. Reproduction description. Let's see. I usually like to kind of find it somewhere in here. It was probably in there, but it's totally fine. We can just change that out to northern. Trust me, guys. No one will notice. Except for you guys, obviously. What else do we have in here? The genus is Lasioranius. Perfect. Let's see what else we have to deal with. Usually the fun facts, I like to do this. And just copy random little things in here. Yep, there we go. And this is essentially how I make my fun facts and stuff. It's just a very, very easy way to get this done nice and quickly. I do appreciate and really do applaud anyone who custom does their own lock files. I really do suggest it because it pays off in the end. You get to educate a lot of people so much better that way. But for the time being, for me, this is just how I usually go. But with that being said, that is pretty much all of our lock files. Of course, there's average size and average weight. Since northern and southerns are relatively the same, I'm just going to leave those as is for now. I'm going to go back and redo it once I actually put the finishing touches on this. But right over here, I'm just going to go to File, New, as you guys could probably tell right there, and go into New Folder. That way it selects everything in that folder. I could simply re-inject it, but I love to do new. And by the way that you extract all of these, it really does help to save on file space, because if you just use the DLC ones and not get rid of everything else, you get all the mentions of, in this case, probably the red kangaroo, the blue-tongued skink, and all that kind of stuff. But with that being said, we're finally at the end game now. So we're going to make two folders. I like to call them MA and IN. It spells main, but I have main and init right there. And these are all going to be very fun to deal with. So we're just going to change koala to no bat, and then content 3 to wombat no. And then we go over here, and then we save it. And then over here, we take our init, content 3, koala, no bat. And then this is where it gets very fun. So we take our no bat asset packages, and we drop that in the init, and then we take the wombat files. Now we only need what our UI reference, so obviously that's going to be animal species, header, Zoopedia thumbnails, as well as maps. and we're just going to drop those in there. And then I highly suggest downloading Notepad+, and then we go to replace content 3, then change that to our content folder, in this case Wombat no, and then we change koala to Wombat, and that way we get a nice good uniform code in here, and everything is fine and dandy. And you just wait till we get to the actual main files, and of course go to new, go to your init folder, and then save it. As you guys can probably tell, I have that installed, so there should only be 8 files in there. And I lost my folder. That's great. Northern, yes. I'm worried about the wombats because they are all so similarly named, and I don't want to mess anything up. So over here, with that being said, our init is done, so we only have asset packages and main, and we're just gonna do asset packages really quickly. So we just rename it in there, and then we clear the cache, and then after we clear that little cache, we have the ability to save our DAT. And this is where it gets very interesting. So I'm going to show you guys 2 ways to do this. Number 1 is probably the easiest way without needing to download like a new hex editor or something like that. We already have a built-in tool over here. If you're doing simple mods, I really do suggest this. You can just simply go to dat edit, do that, koala to Wombat, and then do your content folders. I know in the asset package there's no file names that reference the content folders, but there's still mentions of them within the file itself. So you're just going to do that with Wombat no, or whatever your folder name is. But of course, with that being said, I'm just going to show you guys quickly in here. Content 3 to Wombat no. This is XVI32. This is my hex editor of choice. If you guys have a different one, feel free to use it, but it's very, very easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that to Wombat no, and then koala to Wombat. And then we be good over there. And then we save that, and then we use external dat, and then save that right in there. And look at that, easy as that, our asset packages are done. So with that being said, we have one last thing to do. We have our liveas to extract from the main, and then we also have our FDBs to extract from the main. So the FDBs that you're going to want to have are animals, education, zoopedia, and research. These are basically the building blocks of all animals in the game, very much like how DNA is a building block of life. So what you're going to want to do, right before we actually do that, I'm going to clear the cache one more time, and I'm going to dat edit all of these one more time. So change content 3 to Wombat no, and koala to, not Wombat, what was it? Wombat. Wombat, no problems. So we actually do that, and then we save it right over there. And if you guys ever do mess up on these files themselves, you can always pull them from content 3, then rename them. It's pretty much the same thing at that rate. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up all of these in Notepad++, since I already have that up right now. And right off the bat, we're just going to actually replace all the content 3 mentions with Wombat Northern, or rather Wombat no. And then change all of these to only include the first mentions of these files. Whatever's in blue over there, that's what you want to keep. Anything lower than that, you just outright get rid of. That's just all trash that'll really clog up your files. I really do suggest getting rid of anything that you really don't need. And of course over here, these are our FDB mentions. So as you can see, it's the same ones as mentioned from before. Wombat, no, animals, education, research, zoopedia. And we actually get rid of everything else over here. And there we go. And then we just constantly just do the same thing over and over again. And then we should be done with that right now. It doesn't really matter which one you ended on. I usually like to keep 2 in there, or 1 in these cases. And then we can do file, save all. And then that's it for all of those. We are in the final stretch, everyone. We are almost there. So I just like to reload that just to be safe. You can never be too safe when it comes to this stuff. And then what we're going to actually do, we are going to open up our stuff in SQLite. definitely do get SQLite if you are hoping to make new species mods. It's necessary. Yeah, it's completely necessary. So over here, what we're actually going to do, we're going to open up our handy dandy scripts. Now, these were made by Chicago Zohan, and he's an amazing coder. He absolutely brought to life so much amazing mods, and he's really helped me along the way. This is how I made so many mods. So what we're gonna actually do, and once I actually change proboscis monkey to koala, and then change kip monkey to no bat, we should be ready to roll. So essentially what this table does, it automatically does this all for you. So if you go back and watch like Jesse's old tutorial or Nick's old tutorial, they take forever to do this coding. But with these scripts, watch how easy it is. You click the little notepad right up there, you paste all that in, and then there you go. Now you should only have no bet in there. And of course, with that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I need to find my Wombat files, so give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so over here, since it still has the koala code in there, I'm gonna change that to base game, don't tell anyone. Since it still has the koala files, we need to make it look like this. So of course I'm going to do critically endangered, so we're gonna accept that, and then we're just gonna copy the genus in here. We're gonna copy the family in here. And since koalas are already Diprotodontia, we do not need to copy that in. But we do need to change these mentions out, so we're gonna change that one out, and we're gonna change that one out. And we should be good for the Zoopedia now. Of course, you can get very in-depth with this. You can change up barrier requirements and stuff like that, but I usually don't really mess with that just because I usually break more things than I fix. But of course, moving on, we're going to move on to research. And of course, you can just copy and paste this right from right here. No issues whatsoever. And then we still have these. So what I usually like to do with these research IDs, you can't have them overlap. You can't have two animals with the same research ID. So what I usually do, I do a little bit of a so-called number barf. That's what I have coined this term. And then I just open up in Google spreadsheets and I actually do two values right there, 1 and 2. And then I copy it all the way down to 25. That's usually my magic number. And then the cool thing about SQLite is that it actually runs with like cells. So you can just paste them right in there, and it automatically does that. So it ended at 17, and to make sure that no number is unaccounted for, I'm just gonna paste those in right there, and it picks up right at 18. So that's our research done. That was the biggest pain in the world back in the day, but just seeing how much easier it got, it's so much easier now. Yes, king. So then we do education. You guys probably didn't even realize I did it. It was that quick. And then animals. So I usually have some issues with animals. This is usually the part where the script kind of breaks for me, but we're actually going to try our luck and see if it works. You see, okay, it didn't work. So over here, did it like, yeah, I'm going to see what went wrong over here. So usually, okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my handy dandy other scripts because those ones don't really account for it. I already have one set up for the koala, and what I usually like to do, I'm just going to copy all the delete from where they aren't like koala, and then paste that right in there. And then the only other place where they should have mentions are the social enrichment data. This is your interspecies bonus. I usually just get rid of it for the most part. In some cases I leave it on for some animals, but it usually breaks the code. So over here, I'm just going to change koala to no bat, change koala game to no bat game, and then I just paste that all over there, change that one to base game, and then change this one to no bat juvenile visuals, and I change this one to no bat female visuals, and I copy that one over the male one. This is how you get animals to look the exact same without doing all the extra coding work. Or modeling work for that matter. Instead of doing like sexual dimorphism, you can simply have animals look the same, and it's so much easier that way. So I'm actually going to do climbing over here. So obviously I don't want any climbing space. So since these guys are wombats, this is a little bit more in depth. I'm going to change those both to 0. And idle explore weights, I'm actually going to change that one to 0 and this one to 0.99. And that way our animals won't climb up anything. And you can get very specific with everything in here. You can change out world navigations. You can change out like all the idle behavior weights and stuff like that. It's just, you can go ham with all this stuff. But for the time being, these guys are relatively good the way that they are. So with that being said, we're going to actually exit out of that. We are all set and done with that. And actually, I think we're pretty much on set to get a new koala, well, new Wombat in the game, of course. So we're actually going to reload that, and we're going to inject all of these files, and we are going to save them right over here. So with that being said, I believe we've actually tackled literally everything that we needed to. So we're going to open up Planet Zoo, and I'll see you guys when we're actually there in game. Alright guys, and welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a cut right there. So yeah, we're not at the mod showcase, we're actually in my testing map. Yeah, so I actually do use this for testing. So we actually can just look up Northern Hairy-Nosed Wombat, and we can go right in and place them in here. And if everything goes according to plan, it should just simply sit in a box. That's usually how these mods go. The koala is just going to be boxed right up. That's an issue with the koala currently, but I'm going to seek to fixing that as soon as possible. But as you guys can probably tell, this is the Northern Hairy-Nosed Wombat over here, and unfortunately this one didn't save. Pretty sad, but still, with everything else being said, this is our new species. Excuse me. This is our new species. Everything just turned out absolutely amazing. And I really do hope this helped you guys to learn how to make new species in Planet Zoo. I hope to see a lot more out there with all you guys having this under your belts. I really do appreciate like all the other tutorials, and you guys now have the option to choose which one really best suits your kind of style of coding, I guess. So with that being said, we don't really have anything to look at. Let's get the Mecharoo. Yeah, we'll end it on the Mecharoo. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by. If you guys are interested in more tutorials, definitely do let me know down below. I love making these guys for you. And yeah, if you guys like have any requests for tutorials, definitely do drop them out. But yeah, we're just going to end it on the Mecharoo. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.